What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we need to talk about this S level swap card. We recently talked about it earlier this week about Tasi, and this is where as the season goes on longer and longer and you continue to hold it, the decision gets a little bit more tricky because you only get, at least as far as we know, a single copy of this right now. And this is interesting. This is definitely interesting because we have one for A level and we have one for S level. The A1 I feel like isn't going to be as painful to decide on, but right now we have a couple choices, and it's mainly for those of you guys who early on in the season, or actually even more recently, built one of two heroes. If you built Hodgkin, well, the like assless chap stripper looking dude really doesn't pan out. He's got some cool abilities. He's like a decent off-tank warrior type hero. He really doesn't have any place in the meta, and you know who also just doesn't really have it? As crazy as she looks, she reminds me of Arcane, the League of Legends show. She just kind of like reminds me of Jinx a bit, that crazy demented look. This is another hero that, while having a very cool kit, doesn't really answer any problems that we don't already have better answers for in AFK Journey. So these are the two heroes that if you have built them, this is where you need to make your decision. Now, if you've already built Tasi and you're considering, hey, should I swap Tasi into Sonja? The answer is probably no, because these are probably two of the better heroes we will see, in my opinion, throughout the season. And it really comes down to what game mode you need to prioritize. So since we've already had a video earlier this week kind of going into the depths of Tasi, let's first start off and talk about some of the bonuses that Sonja provides your account. Number one, she's going to be in a lot of boss damage dealing teams for Dream Realm. She's already making her way into like the Light Bearer faction team. You guys know, if you guys don't already have the faction talents all the way built out for the Light Bearers, you need to if you care about battle drills. She is basically one of the best supporters in that team with Rowan and Corrin. Absolutely great. And she's just like this perfect hybrid of damage dealer slash support hero, because first and foremost, she has a very good AoE attack ability, which even in AFK battles, she's decent enough to throw into some sort of Light Bearer team, I think, with Rowan and someone else. Pretty dang solid. The fact that when you do get her Supreme Plus, this Tempest Thrust here actually has a 20% life leech, like straight to healing. It's not like how Life Drain works in the game. It's just straight up 20% of your damage you deal with your ultimate, you get tons of healing back. So even though she's a warrior physical with range 1, she actually does have some decent survivability because of the ways her abilities work. Now, first and foremost, the main reason you're going to use this hero comes in the form of Crimson Covenant. This here at the beginning battle will of course have those two little roses on the battlefield for those two allies placed to her left and her right, giving them attack, magic, and physical defense. And then while this is active, the two allies will gain additional attack and defense every 6 seconds. Sonja is immune to all control effects while casting this skill. This is just really good. The only downside is Crimson Covenant is terminated if either the buffed allies is defeated. In this case, she will then absorb all those bonus stats to herself, and she kind of becomes a bit of a powerhouse here. So really strong. Love how it works. She synergizes very well with skill power. So going for these mythic ones, which one are they called actually? Arcane Charm. These are very good, giving her attack and skill power, two things you absolutely want. Beyond that though, she also has a couple other nice utilities for things like AFK battles or even PvP with her AoE stun ability. She has tons of haste, which is cool. And then of course at Mythic Plus, things get interesting because she starts with additional energy, which means getting to her first ultimate happens much faster. She permanently enhances that Crimson Covenant, which is this ability here that gives stats to your allies after casting her first Tempest Thrust. So she does have to get to her ultimate first for this to trigger. Then instead of only getting the stat boost when that buffed ally is defeated, she then continuously benefits from it the entire battle, even when they are alive, which is really good. What also makes it easier to keep those allies alive, stacking that buff continuously and her leeching off of that, reduces the damage taken by 40% for a Covenant member if any other member is alive. 50% of that reduced damage is then shared across all enemies. So you have a very offensive melee team I think she's going to fit very, very well into it. You can take her further up, you know, which is cool and all, but in reality, you're not necessarily using that type of skill for really anything besides like AFK battles and stuff. If you're going for something more oriented for Dream Realm, it's not as important of a skill. Now, one of the teams I really like to love, or really like to use, is this like very offensive squad right here, and honestly, she kind of fits right in it. Like, I actually think low-key she could be a very awesome hero to add into this team, especially linking heroes like Harak and Soren. I know we're dropping out Freesto for her, and it's not doing too much to our aura, but the fact that these heroes are linked, like, just makes things even crazier, especially when you combine it with things like Frontline Spell, and of course Mikola with her heal across the whole battlefield. Like, you can see how tanky this team is, right? Like, nobody is taking any amount of damage with this setup, and I think this type of team could be absolutely disgusting. Now, I want to just do one thing real quick. We'll just win this battle real quick. At least I think we should win this battle pretty easily with our Taylene and our Tasi. We got to see, though. You never know what can happen in these AFK stages. They can do some really crazy, quirky things, but usually this squad right here does good. Granted, we did put our Taylene across from the Vala, meaning Taylene is just doing nothing. But it does look like Tasi can probably handle this by herself. Again, this is the other hero we're talking about, Tasi, which is another S-level swap potential target because she does absolutely amazing in these types of game modes. And I know I showed the new hero here, Sonja, with Harak. I don't think you need to have Harak. You could even substitute like a Seth or something in there, which could be also really, really cool. So you can see here, she adds a ton of survivability while also providing a decent amount of damage herself. Nowhere near even as much as like Soren does, but Soren does surprisingly well in these types of teams. So if you're looking for something that is flexible and you run melee-oriented teams like that, I think she can be a very good addition to your account. Now, the other target, of course, is the Tasi. We've already had an entire video kind of spelling out exactly what to do with Tasi, and she's still very, very good. One place Tasi, I think, will not be unseated by anybody besides Harak is Dura's Trials. Getting to level 40s with either her, and I think actually, yeah, she was used in this one right here. Very, very easy to get to Dura's Trials 40, which means when you do get to 40, you can easily pick the hero and the part of the charm you're trying to farm. So if you're trying to get that perfect setup and you don't have enough of the dust stuff to get going, it is an amazing one to go. I don't think Sonja is going to be anywhere near as good as there, and I don't think Sonja is going to be nearly as good in PvP. However, Sonja again could be really good in somewhere like Supreme Arena, where actually, you know what? I kind of want to substitute her into this team as well, into my lineup. I think that would be a really cool addition to this team. Gives a ton of survivability and some extra damage. So let me know what you guys think. There's a lot of options here, and we don't really know which one's the right answer. So don't jump the gun with this S-level swap, because honestly, like I said, as every hero comes out, we should have at least like 2 to 3 more S-levels by the end of the season. It's going to become a very difficult decision. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.